Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. We're going to do Speculation Station today because let's talk about the Chase Freedom cards. I'm going to have some evolving thoughts here. So I've got a couple scenarios for the Freedom Flex. There's really only one scenario I want to see for the Freedom Unlimited, but I very much know it's not going to be easy to pull off. And there's always a possibility that there is an as yet unnamed Freedom card potentially floating out there. How likely is this? Probably not very, but looking up at the Sapphire cards, the Sapphire lineup is going to go through some more drastic changes. We've got the Sapphire Reserve now at 795. We don't know what the Sapphire Preferred is going to look like, and if the Sapphire Preferred makes a big jump from 95, let's say hypothetically all the way to 250, there's got to be another card that comes in underneath it, or there's got to be something between the 250 Sapphire Preferred and the no annual fee Freedoms. So Chase is in a very nebulous place right now, and they're changing a lot of what we know of as their business. Referrals from business cards are only going to be for new businesses going forward. So if you've previously had any Chase business account, you will not be able to sign up for a new card and get your friend another referral bonus. You can still get the bonus for a new card, but referrals are going to be cut back on. So that's going to be saving a couple $100 per person per year, depending on what sort of knock-on effect that is, and logarithmically, they're probably saving themselves a couple $1,000,000 that way. Where they're going to reallocate that a couple $1,000,000, I don't know, but that is a distinct possibility. So we're seeing those cutbacks. We're seeing the changes to redemptions in the travel portal with the edit and the and points boost. The overall functioning of how Chase operates is going to be changing over the long term. With that, I do think we're going to see Freedom cards get updated. We're going to see the Sapphire Preferred get updated. And then it's just a question of, is there going to be something in between the Freedoms and the Sapphire Preferred? Is there going to be something between the Sapphire Preferred? Let's say it only goes to 150. Is there going to be something between 150 and 795? That could also make a fair amount of sense. That card coming in, let's say 350, because that seems to be the sort of upper mid-tier mark for Chase at this point. If you're looking at the United cards as an example, where they go $0 annual fee, 150, 350, 695. You could also potentially see other portions of the portfolio take on that same metric, where like maybe IHG is going to see 0, 150, and there'll be like a luxury card that comes out over the top. I don't think you're going to see 4 cards for all co-branded partners. I don't think you're going to see 4 cards in a ultimate reward point earning setup, but there is a possibility for that to be the case, where you could have $0 annual fee Freedoms, 150 for the Preferred, 350 for another Sapphire card of some sort, 795 for the Sapphire Reserve. And that could potentially work, because look at American Express. Like they have the $0 annual fee Blue Business Plus, which they hand out like candy. It's still a business card. I know it's a business card, but for all intents and purposes, they treat it like a customer card. Not great, but like a 2x earning up to $50,000 in spend consumer card, or up to $30,000 in spend consumer card, would go a long way for the American Express lineup, but this is not about that. Then they go up to 150 with the green card, or another card that could come in underneath the green card, and the green card moves up to 250. They've got 325 for the gold, 695 for now on the platinum, and then the business cards follow the same formula. No annual fee Blue Business Plus, 95 for the business green. We'll see what happens there. 375 for the business gold, 695 for now on the business platinum. So Chase has some room to work with if they're going to take on this 4 card approach and go from trifecta to quadfecta. So let's look at the Freedom cards. The Freedom Unlimited and its business cousin, the Ink Unlimited, the only real option I could see going forward is just making it 5% in the travel portal, and 5x in the travel portal, 2x everything else, up to a certain amount of spend. I would say a healthy number on that would be 25,000, maybe 30. The Blue Business Plus goes up to 50,000, but that's taking into account business expenses and things like that. And I don't necessarily think you need to go all the way up to 50 with a personal card. 20, let's say 30,000. All right. So you can get a max of 60,000 points per year on the Chase, on a reformatted Freedom Unlimited, 2x there, unlimited 5% in the travel portal because Chase things. I think that's like the best option all around. You're going to get rid of pharmacy, you're going to get rid of dining. Maybe not great, but you're going to finally give that 2% floor across the board. Pool your points with the Sapphire Reserve, and then you've got points boost potentially making your 2% up to 4%. But the edit, if you go through the travel portal on the Sapphire Reserve and you get 8 times points and then you redeem it at 2x, Chase seems to be fine with awarding up to 16% return on the travel portal. If they're going up to 16% return on their upper tier card, I think they're going to be fine with 4% on up to $30,000 in spend a year. So Freedom Unlimited, I'm going to say $30,000 cap, 2x across the board. Ink Unlimited would also could potentially see a change on that in time where it matches the 2%, but it goes up to 50,000. The Ink Unlimited is now on par with the Blue Business Plus. Not worrying about purchase protections, not worrying about any other features of the card, just pound for pound earning. 2x on up to 50k for the for the Ink Unlimited, 2x on up to 50k for the Blue Business Plus. That's what I could see going forward for that card. I'm not going to talk about the In Cash. In Cash is perfect. Don't touch the In Cash. Then there's the Freedom Flex. And there's a couple different ways that the Freedom Flex could go. My ideal would be the Freedom Flex would give you 5 times points on 2 categories of your choice, and then the 2 3x categories. Those categories and the Elan Max Referred, you could keep those categories just going forward. You set it, you forget it, you're getting 5 times points. I would raise the cap from 1,500 in spend per quarter to 2,500 in spend per quarter. You're going to cap the 5% earnings at $10,000 per year. So that gives you a max of 50,000 points earning on that. And then 3X categories, give it 1 or 2. I don't know what 3X categories you want to give it. You could keep it with drugstores because that's a nice little niche that Chase has. So let's say drugstores. I don't want to say 3X dining because Chase is going to want you to have the other cards. You know what? For this, I'm going to say 3X dining. But gas and grocery could become permanent up to 10,000 spend per year, like permanent categories for someone as 5% categories that you could pick, right? So now in this first iteration of the Freedom Flex, you get 5x on categories of your choice. You pick 2, keep those every quarter up to about $10,000 in spend per year, maybe a little bit more. I'm trying to stay within reason. So $10,000 in spend per year, you get 50,000 points per year on gas and grocery or whatever other categories you so choose. 3x on dining, 3x on drugstores, 1x on everything else. So that would be a pretty smooth card right there. Option 2, you give it 2 4% categories, bump the spend from 10,000 per year up to, let's say, 25,000 per year. So you're going to get a max of 100,000 points in these 2 categories. Let's say for example, grocery and gas EV, 4% up to, we'll say, $25,000 in spend per year, and then 1 or 2 3x categories. Can keep it dining, drugstores, could be something else, 1x on everything else. Now you have a card that's no annual fee that can take on the American Express Gold Card. So probably a little too powerful, but the Gold Card is also capped on groceries at 25,000 in spend. And Freedom Flex is still going to have foreign transaction fees. You can limit it to US supermarkets. There's some ways to like cull the spend capabilities on this card, but go up to 25,000 and kneecap the manufactured spenders by saying anything coded in L3 data as a gift card will invalidate the purchase for points. We'll make the entire purchase 1x points. I don't know. Just an idea. So that's option 2. Option 3 eliminates 2 cards. And now you would get a Freedom Flex that is probably no longer a Freedom Flex. This would be take, again, from Elan and US Bank, 2 5X categories up to 20,000 in spend per year. So 5 times 20, so 100,000 points. 2 5X categories, 2 3X categories, and a base 1.5 earning. So it's like that shopper reward cash card from US Bank and the US Bank Cash Plus card. So you get that up to 100,000 points. You uncap the 3% and you make it a 1.5x base. Now you've got 1 Freedom card, 1 Sapphire Preferred, Maybe there's another Sapphire card between the preferred and the reserve, and then you've got the reserve at the top at 795. So I think there's three fairly workable scenarios for the Freedom Flex, one of which would eliminate the Freedom Unlimited. So proposed options would be, for the first two options that I presented with the Freedom Flex, that cash plus sort of card with a cap up to 25,000 and spend, or sorry, first one I think was only 10,000 and spend. So 50,000 points, 5x categories. You pick them, you set them, you forget them all year. Unlimited 3x, 1x on everything else. And then the Freedom Unlimited would be 5x in the portal, 2x capped at 30,000 and spend. Maximizing your cards, you could end up with a total every year of 160,000 points. You're going to cap your total potential return, but move them over to the Sapphire Reserve, 2%, at least 2x boost on the points bound, and then transfer out to partners. Yes, could Chase lose money this way? Sure, but at least the caps will ensure that Chase can mitigate on a per-person basis, right? Because not everyone's going to spend $30,000 on a Freedom Unlimited. Not everybody's going to spend $10,000 per year. The $10,000 per year on the 5x categories is probably more likely. Oh, sorry. So 10x per year, 10,000 per year. Oh, I've only made it 80,000. Chase is more than willing to do that. 160,000 would be not likely. But that's actually the second scenario, where you do the two 4% categories up to 25,000 and spend, uncap 3x categories, 1x on everything else. Make it so that, and on all these scenarios, I would say things like gift cards at grocery stores or gift cards at gas stations would just throw it into the 1x, where you're getting 500 points for your gift card, but you're not getting 2,500 points for your gift card. There's ways that Chase can mitigate that if they so chose. So do that, right? 4x times 25,000, 100,000 points on your 4 times categories, uncapped 3%, 1x on everything else, capped 2x earnings on up to $30,000 in spend. That's 160,000 points. You can move them to the Sapphires, use them however you see fit, get some relatively good value that way. The caps, I think, would be the trade that you'd have to make to get the higher earnings, but I'm more than willing to see that because we already have the caps. But like the big thing against the Freedom Flex I have is that the cap is only $500 a month. You can go higher. You can just raise the cap a little bit. And I do think a Freedom Unlimited with a 2x floor on up to 30,000 in spend would go far. So that's my idea there. Then I can come back and talk about the Sapphire. I'm probably going to come back and talk about Sapphire because right now there's a hole in the lineup and I don't know what it looks like. So we'll speculate on that another time. But I just wanted to get a speculation station together on what I think could be feasible for the Freedoms. It would make the trifecta still relatively strong and give you the option with a quadfecta, tetrafecta, to add in to have both Freedoms, both Sapphires and both Freedoms, and have a relatively strong card. The only thing would be like that third option where it was 1.5 base, relatively decent cap at 5x, and then uncapped 3%. That sort of card and the two Sapphires would give you a relatively strong trifecta and keep the base earnings at 1.5, which sucks, but that one card could do a lot for you. So that's going to do it for this one. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button down below. If you really want to support me here on YouTube, consider becoming a channel member. It is $2.99 a month. You can cancel it at any time. Check out the Stack of Points podcast. We record on Mondays. We release on Wednesdays and Fridays here on YouTube. We do lives on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. 2 videos are going to pop up here in a couple of seconds. Check out either one. And check out my pinned comment for ways to support me outside of YouTube if you so choose. Ko-fi, buy me a coffee. My top cashback link is down there. My Rove link is down there. My link tree is down there. Every little bit would help me out. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.